When you're an entrepreneur with a great idea, it can be daunting to find funding. Startup Raven takes the process out of your hands by helping entrepreneurs connect and learn about potential investors all in one place, without any long-filled forms or 1,000 questions. Sign up for early access at Startuprad.io.
Welcome to Startuprad.io, your podcast and YouTube blog covering the German startup scene with news, interviews, and live events.
Welcome to this month in German, Swiss, and Austrian startups. We are wrapping up the news for February 2023. Welcome to our February 2023 news wrap up with the most important news from startup scenes in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland in 30 minutes or less. We follow our top-down structure in the news. First, the top news, then we take a bird's eye view at the ecosystem in the German language countries, dig deeper at interesting startup cities, and end with the general news. And for those of you who are really serious about startups, there is even a collection called Stay Ahead of the Curve, where we share interesting reads, articles, studies, and podcasts. As always, I would like to welcome my co-host Chris here from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Jan, I'm doing well. I was just on vacation, so I'm ready.
Awesome. Where have you been?
South Africa. Very nice. I can recommend. Very complex, interesting country.
Yeah. And for everybody who does not know this, Chris and I have a thing ongoing every time we have a recording, and there's no siren here in the background at Chris' place because he lives in Manhattan. He owes me a bagel when I come next time to New York. Our highlights: rising interest rates. Sorry?
So far, I'm lucky. Maybe today.
Yeah. It's only a dozen or something, right? Yeah. I'm always teasing him about the soundboard he's playing with. Our highlights: rising interest rates are leading to an interest rate war between the neo-brokers. We cover the troubled company Windeln.de, which means diapers.de, which is now liquidated. Farewell. Moonfair extends its Series C funding to more than 130 million US dollars, but we're not sure who invested in the last batch, since a fund is mentioned that was also founded by the founder of Moonfair. The city of Mainz goes live with a quest to become a world-class biotech hub. N26 was reportedly in advanced talks to buy Dutch broker Bux, B-U-X, but boxed out shortly before the closing. And we like to end on a high note. Raisin is in the process of reclaiming its unicorn status with a new funding. Let's talk startups. Our enablers. This recording is supported by HTAI, Hessen Trade Invest, and the Enterprise Europe Network Hessen. Startupraven.com, the best way to identify investors and cooperation partners for early stage startups. Sign up for early access here. And you can also now find us on Newsly. Newsly gathers the most trending web articles, reads them in a natural human voice, and showcases trending podcasts from over 80 countries. Newsly has recently selected by beststartups.ca as the top 15 consumer app in Canada and got to the top 3 daily products on Product Hunt. You can register at newsly.me and use the coupon StartupRate to get 1 month premium subscription for free. Let's get into the top news, and Chris is the top news guy, right?
Yeah, and you hinted at a couple of them already. So first topic is the status of the neo-brokers in general. Neo-brokers just started what may become an there's the siren.
Okay, you're off the hook for today as well.
It was basically like half a minute. What may be an interest rate war after the German unicorn Trade Republic had a smashing success with offering 2% interest rate for money deposited there. Now also the fellow unicorn Scalable offers more than 2%, even 2.3%, but only from 100K in euros onwards, and only if you are a subscriber of 4.99 per month, which is a bit of a fun, a bit of a fun rule to say. Oh yeah, and only if you pay 4.99, as if this mattered if you had 100,000 euros in their account.
But it's
Anyway,
still worth it. I did the calculations. It's still worth it if you deposit 100,000 and more euros there.
yeah. We are saying farewell to Windeln.de. You also already hinted at it. Windeln.de meaning diapers. It was a website where you could order diapers for your kids. We have often talked in our news section about the precarious position of them, and now the company is finally liquidated. Another top news is the riddle of Moonfair and its Series C. Moonfair is a fintech from Germany that allows individuals to invest in private equity funds. It's founded by former KKR Germany head Steffen Pauls. They kept their Series C extension round at about $15 million, bringing its Series C funding to $130 million and more. And the Berlin-based fintech allows HNWI family offices, banks, and their advisors access to top-tier private markets investment. But German business magazine Manager Magazine reports that for this extension, the only investor mentioned by name is one that Mr. Pauls has co-founded. So we don't fully know. Oh, it's a bit like not sketchy. It's a bit hard to determine what actually went on there. You can find his profile at 7 Global Capital on the website as managing partner and founder. We have the link to that in the show notes. Moving on to Mainz, close to home.
And HNWI means high net worth individual. It means people who have money. The city of Mainz starts to invest some of their billions in the biotech hub. You may remember that we told you the story of the city of Mainz, a lovely city with a normal annual budget of 100 million euros, the capital of one of Germany's states called Rheinland-Pfalz. Since they are also the headquarter of BioNTech, they got flooded with tax revenues as soon as the corona vaccine was rolled out. They showed more than 1 billion in profits as a city in 2021 alone, and they want to invest the money to become a world-class biotech hub. Now, the company they want to use to drive this initiative is operational. It's called BioMinds, BIOMINDZ. And they just start working on it. And of course, we do have an interview with the person in charge of the biotech hub. N26 boxed out. According to a press report, N26, the neo-broker, was in discussion to acquire Dutch broker Bux, B-U-X, but backed out shortly before the deal was closed. The price tag is also reported to be around 100 million euros, but N26 feared too much complexity with the deal and post-merger integration. And Raisin gets its horn back. Not everybody is suffering from higher interest rates. The deposit broker Raisin is in the process of raising additional 50 million euros venture capital at a 1.5 billion with a B valuation, reports Börsenzeitung, something like the German Wall Street Journal. We talked about them losing narrowly the unicorn status in our news before, but apparently they are on their way back to reclaim it. We had an interview before many people outside of Germany knew they existed, and you can listen to the interview here on YouTube, even it's an audiogram. It dates back to 2017 with Tamash. Let's go to housekeeping and time to brag. Today we want to hint at 2 events we will both attend this year where we are media partners. Look at our Medium blog for discount codes. It's the EU Startup Summit, April 20th to 21st in Barcelona, and the Tech Open Air, July 5th to 7th in Berlin. Chris, you're a bird's eye view ecosystem guy, aren't you?
Yeah. So in this part of the show, we usually look a bit at what is going on in the German language countries or in the landscape of startups in the German language countries. We kick things off with a European view because we found a report that says Europe's AI industry is set to confound market expectations and generate a 25% compound annual growth rate through 2026. We also found another report saying, though, that the mood in the German VC market hits a low, only seen at the onset of the corona pandemic, according to Kreditanstalt für Wiederaufbau, KfW's VC and PE index. There's also a full English version in the show notes where, it comes together. They fire, we hire. Germany seizes on Silicon Valley's woes. That's an article we found that hints at the fact that companies like Facebook and Amazon said that there are several thousand people to be laid off. I think we have to take these reports with a grain of salt because right now the headlines were really big, how many people are being fired, but also those companies hired a lot of people in the last year, and there's definitely still net growth happening at those companies. And parts of it is just a media phenomenon, being the fact that you don't really write about 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 new hires each month, but it's always a headline if a company writes about layoffs or communicates layoffs. Then the European Tech Champions Initiative will be an EU government VC umbrella fund backed by Germany, France, and Spain. The fund will be located by EIB. It aims to keep tech startups from leaving. So far, only 3.75 billion euro are committed, but the initiative wants to reach 10 billion euros in the future. So definitely worth having an eye on that. And then Germany has the strictest liability rules for crowdfunding platforms in Europe. Now the federal government wants to ease them to the level of other European countries. So maybe that's also worth looking into it. That's it for the ecosystem. We are now moving on to hubs and looking at specific cities in Germany.
Yes, talking about hubs, here we want to highlight some hidden gems and cities, usually forgotten in the general startups news and international press. Berlin and Munich are so large, they are excluded here. You'll find all the news they generate in their respective sections. Frankfurt, Clock Group acquires Anorak and further expands in the UK market. German Casper competitor Emma Matratzen grows in 2022 to more than 870 million euros revenue plus 35%. You can learn more about the company and its founder, its origin, of course, in our interview with him. Bloomwell Group raises several million venture capital from investors Artemis Growth Partners, Measure 8 Venture Partners, a German family office, and actor Moritz Bleibtreu. The Frankfurt-based company owns several cannabis brands. Hey guys, this is Joe from Startuprad.io. Today I want to introduce you to our newest partner, Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up the top trending articles on the web on topics you choose at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. We are also available there with all of our podcasts. Subscribe now and get 1 month off the premium subscription with the code StartupRad, STARTUPRAD on newsly.me. Crypto investments in Deutsche Digital Assets or Bankhaus Scheich, their solution traders, both are based in Frankfurt. You can learn more about the founder of Deutsche Digital Asset Management in our interview there under their old brand name. And also in Frankfurt, Europe's first AI testing hub starts there. Chris, that was a lot. You want to take over?
Yeah, we stay in Hessen though, in the city of Hanau. We found reports saying that the French company Data4, or I don't know if it's French, maybe it's Data4, I have no idea, will invest billions to set up a new data center in Hanau, 30 kilometers away from Frankfurt. It will be one of the largest of its kind in Europe. Marburg, also in the central German state of Hessen, is a place where BioNTech from Mainz invest in the production capacity in their facility in Marburg, 40 million euros for their plasmids, the basis of mRNA technology. And BioNTech, obviously the company we spoke a lot about here, really changing the landscape all around Mainz because it's the company that had a huge success with the COVID vaccine. In the city of Mannheim, there is news about the jewelry startup Paul Valentine. Despite topping out around 30 million euros in annual revenue, the startup has to file for insolvency. In Göttingen, a university town also in the middle of Germany, there is news about a life science growth fund that starts at 12 million euro and is planned to top out at 20 million euros to fund life science startups around Göttingen and from the university. And obviously I root for this because I grew up 25 kilometers away from Göttingen. There you go. Austria, the Austrian crypto unicorn Bitpanda, we talked about them too quite often, changes its setup. The new parent holding is now located in Switzerland, which is fine for us because we also cover Switzerland. The Vienna-based startup valuation company Valutico raises a mid-seven-digit venture capital investment by Austrian investors Push Ventures, AWS Gründerfonds, not Amazon, but the Austrian Wirtschaftsservice, and Erste Group. And Austrian startup Revo Foods gets 1.5 million euro government grant for their 3D printed vegan fish from Vienna. Wow. That's just words. 3D printed vegan fish.
With a government grant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I would have loved to be part of that pitch meeting. And in Switzerland, 2.3 million Swiss francs to market Therapet first product and boost research and development. Unisys secures $14 million to develop defect detecting tools in chip making. And the general entrepreneur activity in Switzerland plummets, a small report that you can find in our show notes. Moving on to general news, tech news, company news, a little bit of everything with you.
With me, actually, that is quite a tongue twister. Defect detecting. How often can you say that one after another? Defect detecting. General news, Chris. Tech news, companies news. As always, we tell you about new VC funds in case you're looking for money. VC Planet A raises 150 million fund for climate tech. As always, you can pitch them directly with a link in our show notes on our Medium blog. Fintech news. Fintech's C24, meaning the bank behind the comparison website Check24, Check24, and Solaris Bank, under BaFin, Germany's bank oversight scrutiny. As the authors point out, a lot resembles the troubles of N26 with BaFin, and we covered this extensively. Corporate credit card and expense management fintech Moss is frequently mentioned as a potential future unicorn. They had to disclose numbers and only generated 1.6 million revenue in 2021, but currently are valued at 500 million euros. Insurtech unicorn WeFox cuts jobs, less than 10% of the overall 1,400 strong workforce. General news. Used car marketplace called HeyCar cut 16% of the workforce. And we haven't talked about Uber in quite a long time, right, Chris?
No.
Well,
my Uber rating went down recently. I don't know why. I lost 0.06 points.
So let's talk about Uber Reserve here. Uber takes another shot at the German taxi market in Frankfurt, Berlin, and Munich. Before, you could only book an Uber right now, but now you can reserve it 30 days in advance. Formerly only possible with taxis here in Germany.
And about this, I think we have to say, we have to tell people a bit that the German taxi market is heavily regulated, and the German taxi unions or taxi driver associations, however you want to call it, have a huge power in bargaining power, even in politics, which is a reason why companies like Uber or Lyft never were able to successfully enter the German market.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Some background.
And there are competitors of Uber, like you said, Lyft. I've never seen them in Germany at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Superfoods startup Natural Mojo, part of Invincible Brands, has to file for insolvency. So does Zenloop. Good news. Munich-based unicorn startup Flix breaks even for the first time. Keep in mind that are the guys that own the Greyhound buses in the US. You can learn more about one of the founders in our extensive interview here. Chris, you are the guy for the high notes, right?
Yeah, so to end on a high note, we always come up with a couple of fundraisings that we found. So some good news from the startup landscape. Munich-based robotics startup Kevazo raises $10 million in a Series A funding. Kittel, Kittl, a Berlin, Germany-based provider of an online design platform, raised 10.8 million euros in a Series A funding. The round was led by Left Lane Capital with participation from Speed Invest, Desk Trainer, and Shan Puri. And German edtech No Unity, a TikTok for schoolwork, raises 9 million Series A extension. Scilib fuels up with 8 million euros to hit the accelerator on sustainable electric mobility, writes EU startups. And then we have a couple of news to stay ahead of the curve, how to find smart money VCs and value-added investors, how to estimate market size, why VC and angel investors say no to entrepreneurs, the upside of venture capital slowdown, and on Y Combinator startups and the AI revolution. Just a couple of interesting reads that we highly recommend. And that's it from New York. And I made it through with one siren.
Oh, and today we made it in less than 25 minutes to Startup News Wrap Up. As always, it was a pleasure talking to you, and we will be back with the GSA Startup News Wrap Up on March 30th, 2023. Looking forward to work with you then again.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's all, folks. Find more news, streams, events, and interviews at www.startuprad.io. Remember, sharing is caring.